And then there came a day like many others. The best Flarking podcast. Your nerd's eye view of TV, film, comics, and video games. With you as always, your mother Flarking hosts, Dunners and Reach. Fellas, show them who they're Flarking with.
Hello, people of the multiverse. It's that time again. It's the best Flarking podcast. I am Dunners to some, the not rebooted version of the Atom from the X-Men universe. With me, as always, is the one and only, the immortal Reach Hogan. Reach, how you doing?
Brother. Doing good, man.
Oh boy. So
how are you doing?
You know, I'm doing great.
I'm a little frustrated now.
I'm doing great, but we didn't see it together, but we saw a movie, the same movie within the same 24 hours. So it's like, you know how like when they say you have a baby within 9 months or 12 calendar months of another baby, they call them Irish twins.
I do not know that, but I'll act like I know it.
We basically we were Irish moviegoers to X-Men Apocalypse. And that's what today's episode is going to be about. We're probably going to, do what we always do and just ramble off into some other direction and talk about something else. But
something's bound to come up.
But we're going to pretty much lay down what I assume is a lot of dislike bordering on hatred for X-Men Apocalypse. And
no, you're accurate. Bordering hatred. It's exactly what it's walking a fine line of.
To get right down to brass tacks, and I just want to get it right out of the way. I mean, I obviously haven't seen any of the other movies that come after this that are coming out in August and blah, 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 blah. But I am very certain that this is the worst movie of the summer. I'm certain that this is the worst movie of the summer.
Yeah, it has to be, because I've already seen TMNT 2, which was tons of fun. And Independence Day, we already know, is making fun of itself, so that can't be bad.
Exactly. This is the movie that's like, Bryan Singer, it's time for you to not be a part of this universe anymore. Because the weird part is, when you look at it, Bryan Singer has fucked not one, but two X-Men trilogies now.
Oh, yes.
His departure from doing the third X-Men gave us X-Men The Last Stand, which is bad. It's not even the worst X-Men movie anymore.
Not anymore.
Which is insane. And then
that is pretty crazy to think about.
In the second trilogy, he decides he's going to bump Matthew Vaughn out of the director's seat and be like, you know what? I thought First Class was great. I want my series back now. If I was Matthew Vaughn, I'd be like, man, fuck you. Go make another Jack and the Beanstalk movie, you ass.
With Beast.
But, Matt Vaughn was like, you know what? Fine, fuck it. I'll go make the Kingsman. And that shit was awesome. I can't wait for Kingsman 2 to be like, Matthew Vaughn has exited the Kingsman. Bryan Singer directing Kingsman 2. Hey, can I have your movie? Because I don't know how to make a successful one anymore. I know how to make X-Men work. Put Kaiser Soze in it. But yeah, it's not good. This is and for everyone who's like, but what about Batman versus Superman? You guys shit inside of that thing so hard that it was like a shit-filled shit. And I was like,
we did.
It's like, we did do that. It's true. But we didn't have the foresight of this being like, whoa, this is even shittier. I'll put it this way. The weird fucking derped out shitty X-Men trailer I made is a more complete movie than the actual X-Men Apocalypse movie.
Yeah.
And the cameo from the Kool-Aid Man in my fake trailer
is just as
impactful and important as Wolverine's cameo in this movie. It's fucking insane. But let's go all the way back to the beginning and let's.
I took notes. Literally, I have 27 lines just numbered down from the start of the movie.
We're not gonna do a synopsis anymore because I feel like that's bums us out and slows everything down. So we're just gonna get right to the shit.
Yeah, start it off, man.
So we start off and it's in the middle of fucking make way for Prince Ali Ababa's procession into the great city, because all I could think of when I saw that procession was like, oh, it's like Aladdin. Even though they're not anywhere close to like in Arabic country or anything like that.
Or Stargate for that matter.
Yeah, it's Stargate and Aladdin, and like everyone's like, oh, and Sabaner, and then like fucking the genie's off like turning people into horses and shit off on the side.
Right.
Or maybe I made that part up. But
Parrot's just flapping his jaws.
So they bring in fucking En Sabah Nur in his giant raw suit into what is supposed to be the Lazarus chamber, but it isn't.
No, it's so far from that.
The very first shitting that they do in this series is that Apocalypse doesn't live forever and that he's just a really powerful mutant. He's a parasitic body hopper.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. What is this whole transference shit about? Because that ain't the way I remember it.
But that's not the way it is. No. So he's a body hopper. He's like the other shitty villain who's a body hopper that was on TV this year. Hive. Yeah, that's right. He sucked.
He did suck.
So they have him on the table. He's all old and weird. And they're like, you will live forever with this mutant's body. Because they found Oscar Isaac, the normal version of Oscar Isaac, who's a mutant who can heal like Wolverine. So they're like, oh, he'll live forever now. Great. He'll never have to do this again. So they, do the thing where they flop him into the new body.
Right. And do we know that, though? Like, because they only cut him. They didn't put him through the ringer. Like,
right, I mean they just cut him and he's sewed back up, which apparently is all that people want to do to Apocalypse, really.
That's so eternal life right there.
So also we get this weird Ocean's 11 plot from a bunch of extras who are signaling each other that it's about to go down and that they're gonna kill Apocalypse and mind you, this is the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah,
I don't know that they hate him. I don't know anything about any of this shit. This is all stuff that I had to surmise later, in the film. And that movie, it drags on forever. But fucking Danny Ocean and fucking Matt Damon and Brad Pitt, they fucking swap out the Fabergé egg with a hologram one, and they slide a giant brick down this elevator chute into the pyramid to apparently fucking Jamaican bobsled team this giant slab into...
deconstructing the entire pyramid.
Yeah, basically blowing out all of the support beams in the pyramid. And
which I don't know how you do from 2 blocks, but okay.
And so what transpires is actually the best action sequence of the film in my mind.
Think so?
Let me get there.
Okay.
Let me just stay with me. stay with me right now. Because I need you to hold on. Apocalypse's first 4 horsemen that we see are the 4 horsemen of Frank Miller's 300. They most certainly are
I would say, let me correct you, 3 and Baraka.
Yeah, and of course Baraka. He got a Tarkatan warrior to be part of his team.
What the fuck?
And they look like they're straight out of fucking Xerxes' Persian army, and just the 1,000 armies of the Persian Empire descend upon you. And of course, since that's Magneto, then it's then we will fight in the shade. And it's yeah, Magneto. But fuck, man, we get this whole thing where the Ocean's 11 crew are flying in trying to kill Apocalypse's Freaky Friday table body. Because whatever body swapping movie you like, the Switch Up, Freaky Friday, 16 Again, whichever one you want to do for the crazy wacky body swap, that's what Apocalypse's table thing is. It's I get to swap my brain into your body and be young again. Yeah. And
somehow sunlight transfers into gold.
And gold
stuff,
and gold
floaty that doesn't give a fuck about gravity.
And gold turns into the pipe screensaver from Windows 95 that work its way into the other table, and then you transfer your consciousness.
Yeah, let alone do we even know why this transference is going on? He just gets thrown on the table.
You guys got to understand that this process takes 2 minutes to do. So this whole thing is super quick, but there is a lot going on. So there's fucking pillars flying in, and rocks are happening, and one of the horsemen can is pyro and can make fire move around. One of them, the Baraka one, is just really strong and catches a brick and throws it. And the way that it's edited is so bad, it looks like he throws the brick and then it falls on one, and then it falls on one of his friends. I'm why'd he kill his friend? And I had to go back and look, and I was oh shit, no, that's a different boulder. Now, the reason why I say this is the best action sequence in the movie is because the evil Lynn super number one primo ultimate
I
horseman.
figured that's where you were
when
going.
she grabs the dude out of the air and Tetrises him into a cube, and like
just
all of
puts
his
him into
limbs
a
are all
ball.
all his limbs are all broken. I was like, that's pretty sweet. That part's tight. I hope
Or the
there's
first
more.
one that just melts like 3 people.
Yeah, and so like, but then we get this weird like falling into like the void, like this
Yeah, where
giant
did that come from?
this giant chasm that's underneath the desert. And they fall, and she like uses her powers to encase Apocalypse in a like an energy tomb to keep him
some
alive.
kind of something.
And then she falls and clearly shatters her spine, but somehow still sits right up and finishes making the energy tomb. Like, I watch him like, wow, she fell like 300 feet directly onto like a triangle.
Yeah. Yeah, there are at least some displaced vertebrae there.
It's like, I'm almost certain she would get split in half.
Yeah.
But then, like, you know, so Apocalypse is like, the future. And so fast forwards, and there's Scott. And he's like, I'm Scott Summers.
Yeah, but speaking of which, the whole time that transition happens through this tunnel that we go through, like, what the fuck was that tunnel?
Oh my God,
That you're bringing us through, Bryan Singer. What is all of this, and what does it have to do
Even-
with any of anything going on?
even the X-Men title sequence has given up.
Yeah, that's it has.
Like, seriously, the X-Men title sequence has given up trying to tie into what the movie's about.
Yep, just gave
You
up.
know, and it's just like, fuck it, put like, I don't know, arrows and fucking shields and fucking, I don't know.
Just throw it in there. We're good.
Who gives a fucking flying shit about it? And then we end on Scott Summers in class, and he's like, my eyes hurt. You looking at my girlfriend, Scott?
winking, Scott? You winking at my girl?
My eyes hurt. And so he's like, he goes to the bathroom because his eyes hurt. And then she's like, why don't you go to the principal's office too? Because you're a dick, Scott, and I don't like you. I'm the teacher, and I think you're a piece of shit. So he's trying to establish that Scott's like a bad boy, even though that's never been who Scott Summers is. So he's in the
Yeah,
bathroom.
I think you know the way. I do.
I know the way to the principal's office because I'm there all the time because I'm such a bad boy. Just like super fucking dumb. And then, so he goes into the bathroom and he's like, my eyes, they hurt. And then guess what he does?
Sitting on the toilet, like,
Yeah.
just...
He said, like, and I don't know, this is one of the movie tropes that I hate. People who are wearing pants sitting on a toilet that's
toilet.
open. It's like, I know there's no lid because it's a school toilet or whatever, but like at the same time, it's like, dude,
Dude.
you sit on a toilet with your pants, like, that's super weird. Your pants are gonna have like all sorts of ass germs in them now. Like,
Butt dust.
I don't know.
Butt dust.
That's a scientific term. Butt dust is real. Neil deGrasse Tyson will tell you. Go on Twitter at Neil deGrasse Tyson. Ask him about butt dust. He'll tell you. So he fucking cycloptic blasts the bully because he's like, Art, I know you were looking at my girl, and somehow I got to sneak out of class too, without explanation. And he comes in, and fucking Cyclops just like kills him. That kid has to be. That kid
He's
has to
dead.
be dead because he's trying to open the bathroom door that Cyclops is in. He's like, "What are you crying, you pussy?" Because only people who are pussies have emotions. I'm Bryan Singer's dad. Every bad character is Bryan Singer's dad.
Has to be.
My
You
God,
figured it
because
out.
this movie most certainly doesn't let you off the hook without letting you know that Apocalypse is your father all the time.
All the time. You are all my children.
And so Scott blasts him into the wall and fucking murders him, but nobody says anything about it because that kid was a dick. And then basically,
Yeah, he deserved it.
then we cut to Scott's parents who are still alive
Somehow. Some way.
because we're gonna go ahead and ignore the fact that the mutant powers of the Summers boys were triggered by an airplane crash.
Right.
You know, because that was the traumatic and stressful event that caused them to have their powers. And Scott's powers are controllable like Alex's if he hadn't have hit his head so hard in the airplane crash. Like, this movie just gives him powers that are uncontrollable for no reason. It's like anytime you
Isn't
open your
that-
eye, like, in I want to cover this, like, in the comics and even in the movies, a mutant's powers manifest at a time of great stress, a great emotional stress.
Yeah, we even covered this in Deadpool.
And Scott is just sitting in the middle of a classroom, bored.
As fuck.
He's just bored watching a newsreel and is like, my powers are triggering.
trying to admire a young woman. Just
and it's just like, that seems like a really shitty way to do that. That seems like a really
that's
shitty.
what it is. It's fighting puberty that initiates.
Yep.
Or fighting hormones.
Yep.
I can't do it. My eyes.
Oh no! I like her so much that I fucking melts everyone in class. And so we get to see the Summers parents who are like, Alex, guess what? Your brother's just like you. And they're like, oh, hey, it's me, Alex Summers, from the other two X-Men movies. The one where I had a really cool role in X-Men First Class, and then the one where I was in Vietnam in X-Men Days of Future Past.
And it's been 20 years and I still haven't aged a day.
Yeah, it's like...
Can we talk about that, please?
Yeah, the fact that it's 20 years since the X, like, it's been 20 years to the day. Yeah, it's 20 years to the day.
And nobody has aged a single fucking day.
It's the mutant X gene. Keeps them young. All of them. They all stay so young. But you know what? I can suspend. If this were a better movie, I would just let that. I would let that go. It's that whole thing that we talk about with movies, though. It's like, if it were a good movie, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care that. You wouldn't. If it was a good movie,
maybe.
If it was,
you're right. I think you're right, but I don't know.
It's the thing about suspending your belief with movies that are great. And my whole movie currency argument. This movie has already spent all of its money. Yep. Right in the beginning, and it's like asking me to borrow it money, and like it's at that point where you're like, your friend is like, hey, could it be cool if I just, I'll get you back when we buy pizza.
And you already owe me.
Yeah, it's like, I'll get you back when we buy this pizza, and it's like, I know you won't fucking get me back. I'm just gonna buy you dinner. Just ask me to buy you dinner.
Yeah,
that's what the movie's doing at this point already.
No, let's call a spade here.
So like, basically, Alex shows up and he's like, hey, Scott, I heard you're a fucking energy blaster like me. Blah, 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 blah. Let's go to fucking Charles's house. So he brings fucking Scott to Charles's house, and we have another dumb. It wouldn't be dumb if it wasn't the fifth time we've seen like people walk in and see kids with powers wandering around the mansion.
Yes, but before that, you're forgetting a very important part of Nightcrawler being introduced into this shitty fight environment of Angel in an electrified cage in Russia.
No, yeah, was it Russia or was it Berlin?
Berlin, yeah, you're right.
But it's him one of the... Who gives a shit? USA!
Who gives a fuck where it is? It's not in America.
He's probably out fighting in fucking Commie Town. Who cares?
But they bring Nightcrawler in this chest with... I don't even know what the hell's around it.
They bring him into the fight club in Davy Jones.
Hang on, before that though, Angel is fighting, and we get to see Blob on a stretcher get taken away from the cage.
We also get to see a giant cut on the back of Blob's head too.
Right. So correct me if I'm wrong here, but could Angel in angel form really take out Blob in an electrified cage fight?
I don't think so.
Exactly.
They don't even call him Blob. They're like, give it up for Fat Man. And I'm like, man, this series really wants to shit all over the Blob, man. Frank Dukes can't catch a break in the X-Men movie universe to save his life.
No, he cannot.
Just shitting all over him. But yeah,
so Nightcrawler is thrown into this ring.
I got an analogy for what this chest is.
Okay.
This chest is the box that Davy Jones' heart was in fucking Pirates 2. You know the chest that they're all looking for to find Davy Jones' heart? That's the box they bring Nightcrawler in. But it's wrapped in fucking electrified fence because in this movie universe, Nightcrawler can't teleport through electric fields.
But we don't get told that. We have to assume it.
Right. Well, I mean, they tell us 2 hours later for sure that he can't do it. But
Well, right, because I'm immediately assuming, I'm like, why don't you just bamf your ass out of that cage?
That's the first thing I was like.
You just referenced it. Anywhere you can see, you can teleport to.
And it's like, he's anywhere and they're fighting. It's like, I was like, what? If he doesn't want to be there, just leave. And then and then he burns Angel's wing, and it's like, I'm sorry. I'm like, is Angel's wing fucked up, or is it just some feathers are burned? I didn't understand what it was at first because the movie then shows me later. But
right, because he was maimed. He was actually maimed. Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, okay, all right. But after all of this, bullshit, we get to a moment where they're like, Hank's like, a giant fucking tremor happened and fucking split the earth into a million pieces, and whatever. And Moira was in fucking Egypt, and he's like, what, Moira? Moira was there, and like, I fucking loved Moira, even though fucking dumb stuff's we'll tell you about the dumb stuff that I did after this. And it's like, oh, cool. And we meet Storm, and Storm is super lame. Like,
super lame.
And here's one of the biggest problems, and I'm not going to bring it up every time it happens, but we'll just talk about it right now. Apocalypse, when he recruits a 4 horsemen, does not have to convince them of anything. He just walks up to him and goes, hey, what's up? I'm God. I'm your father. I'm your father. I'm your father. I'm also a God, and I'm your father. Come join me, and I'll make you more powerful. I'm your father. Did I tell you that I was your dad? And they're like, oh, wow, Dad.
Here's a little taste. Here's a little bit of power. Here's a little bit of aforementioned power.
Yeah. You do not need a cerebro. You have a me. Stop saying me for so long. So Storm gets her white hair from Apocalypse touching her, by the way. She wasn't born with it.
I was a little offended.
I'm gonna go ahead and cover this too for our comic book fans who like this shit. The movie universe has rolled the entire Shadow King story into Apocalypse. So basically they've ruined the idea of using an incredible villain like the Shadow King because they've given his story to the Apocalypse character. And Apocalypse is never once referred to as quote unquote Apocalypse by name. He's referred to it because of the apocalypses that happen when he goes into his body switching mode or whatever the fuck it is that he has to do to like kill all of mankind when he's like, these people suck, time to fucking murder them. And like, that's what the whole thing is, because they don't even call him En-Sabah-Nur, they call the order that follows him the En-Sabah-Nur. And it's like, no, that's his name.
You know, like, I didn't even put that together until you just referenced it now. And that he's not mentioned by name.
The dumbest part is Apocalypse has a like Stranger in a Strangeland moment where it's just like, what the fuck? You don't speak Egyptian? You don't speak English? And then it's like he's like, look,
what do you need?
And then he like kills a guy because he's like, don't fucking laugh at me because I don't know your language. And then Storm tries to talk to him, and Storm brings him home like fucking E.T., like wrapped in a blanket.
Yep.
And she's like, hey, everyone leave. I got to talk to my fucking new dad. And he touches a TV, and the TV starts wibbling out. And she's like, what are you doing? And he just goes, I'm learning. It's like, for real?
Right.
He touches the TV, and he learns how to speak English. So dumb. So dumb. Just so dumb.
Let alone every single piece of any information he's learning is pretty much American history.
Superpowers.
Who gives a fuck about the centuries we've been buried? Just give me the last 60 years.
Superpowers. Like when he looks at the camera and says superpowers, I'm like, what is this? This movie is fucking stupid. So dumb. And then we cut back. There's like there's some shit that happens. I don't fucking remember. But the next thing that I remember is Scott and Jean bump into each other, and Scott, is blindfolded because he has eyes that he has eyes that most certainly would blow right through bandages if he opened them.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of bandages those were.
We'll do them anyways. But he bumps into Jean and is like, "Watch where you're going." And Jean, Jean's out and moves her books back to into her arms, and it's just like, you bumped into me, but she isn't talking, and they're having a conversation in his brain, and he's like, I heard you in my head, and he's like, yeah, that was me. Well, stay out of my brain. Well, there's not very much in there, Scott. And he's like, I didn't tell you my name. No, you didn't. Well, I don't want some weird girl in my head. And it's like, oh, Jean and Scott hate each other. Herp, burp, biddle, derp. And then
he's punching you because he likes you.
And then Beast is like, hey, bro, I made some fucking ruby quartz glasses for you to wear. And he's like, really? Yeah, they'll refract the spectrum to spectrum-y refractal times.
They're Ray-Bans.
They're tight. They look
with
like
blue accents.
You look like an old lady after she's had her pupils dilated at the optometrist. And he's like, oh, tight. And he puts them on. And then he sees Jean over by a tree, and he's like, who is that? And it's like, that's Jean. You guys have met already. That's the girl I was mean to? Like, what the fuck, guys? You didn't tell me she was smoking hot. He's just like, shit, I gotta go over and talk to her.
Or he's seen Game of Thrones and he was like, you didn't tell me it was Sansa Stark. Fuck.
Yeah. And so he goes over and he talks to her and he tries to lay the Mac down. He's like, hey guys, I got glasses now. No one's afraid of me. And she's like, no one's afraid of you. They're afraid of me. I'm the freak of this school. I'm like, are you fucking for real? We're gonna play that angle? We're playing that card in this movie. It's like
measuring who's the biggest freak.
It's just like at that point, it's man, fuck you, X-Men Apocalypse. Fuck you as a movie. And it's like, but you know what? We're only 38 minutes in, so I got like 2 hours left.
Oh yeah.
But
what happened next was, with Magneto.
Oh God, you mean Henrik or whatever the fuck his fake name is?
Henrik, and how a single human with a non-compression bow can somehow put an arrow with enough torque through to impale two humans.
Yeah, kill them both.
Yeah. Got a twofer.
Well, let's rewind just a little bit. When Apocalypse wakes up and causes an earthquake around the planet.
Yeah, the entirety, by the way.
An earthquake around the Earth. I don't know. I don't even. The machine shop that Magneto now works in, the Russian foundry that he works in, the Polish foundry that he works in, falls apart, and a beam goes to fall on one of his friends, and Magnetos out of reaction and saves his life. And how is he repaid for saving his friend's life? They all call
way he's always repaid, Adam.
They call the cops,
death.
And the cops abduct his daughter, and they go looking for his daughter.
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
so not legit.
And then he's like, "All right, you can take me in, but let my family go." And they're like, "All right." And they let his daughter go back over to his wife. Magneto goes to go with them. They're about to handcuff him or whatever.
But his daughter just so happened to be the real actual daughter of Animal Man from the DC universe.
Yeah. So she starts calling all the birds down, and the birds are going crazy. And it's just like, she's scared. She doesn't know how to control her powers. And then one of the humans, in classic human wacky fashion, fires his arrow from his, like, very small...
wooden fucking bow.
Yeah, it's very small, not recurve bow and arrow. And fires not only through the daughter, but through the mother, too.
Yep.
So they're, like,
Twofer.
hugging each other, and he gets them both. A 2-for-1. This is... the best archer in history. Like, even Hawkeye would have to be like,
yeah.
Even Hawkeye's like, fuck, this guy's good. So Magneto runs over. Henrik and like the whole "I'm trying it your way, Charles" falls away, and Magneto emerges, realizes that his wife has her ring on, cuts everyone's throat with her ring, and kills all these cops. So Magneto's on the run again. Decides he's going to go back to the foundry and kill all of his buddies or former friends.
Yep.
Meanwhile, we get one genuinely awesome scene, and that's the scene with Caliban. I was like, "Oh, cool!"
When
I'm like,
Raven is there.
Yeah, I'm like, "Cool, Caliban. That's great. Caliban's awesome." I'm like, "That would be great if Caliban was showed with respect." And they give him a little bit, of his ability, his like kind of mutant, his kind of like. What is it? Precog mutant future rod or whatever the hell that he is, that he can figure shit out, and calls her Mystique, and she gets all pissy about it. And then they, book Nightcrawler passage to the U.S. And we meet Psylocke in her very incredibly disposable role in this film.
God, I'm so. This is just. It's grossly offensive to see Betsy Braddock represented in this way.
I almost like the Psylocke I like Invisible Wall Psylocke from X-Men The Last Stand more than I like this one played by Olivia Munn.
I know. I was okay until the way she bought in to, or just kind of like okayed Apocalypse. Mm-hmm. I'm like, no, that is not,
I know.
No.
I know the mutants you're looking for. I can show them to you.
Right.
And then he touches her hand, and her average size psychic knife becomes a big, old, meaty, thick, girthy psychic knife. I was like, wow, Psylocke's dick just got a lot bigger.
That thing's huge.
I was like, Psylocke's dick was respectable to begin with. And then
Now
he
I'm
touched,
just
and
scared.
then he touched her arm, and it's like, wow, that's a big psychic dick now. Dang, Apocalypse out here just enhancing people.
Wow.
And then for some shit happens. They go and they find Angel, who's like, I'm drinking myself into a stupor because my wings are gone.
Dude,
and,
heavy metal emo Archangel's the worst.
And then what does Apocalypse do? Rips out his organic wings and just grows metal ones out of his back. No like weird augmentation to it. Just kind of like
didn't ask him.
Just kind of just does it. And then he's like, cool, I'm on your team.
Yep.
And then the only one who needs convincing is Magneto.
With a bottle in his hand, by the way, still rocking out.
Yeah.
and then throws his fucking daggers into the wall, and everybody just co-signs with their little looks and nods. Like, yeah, he's
tight.
a badass.
Feather knives.
Tight.
That's dope. And then we get fucking, Charles talks to fucking to Magneto and is like, I found you with Cerebro. Don't hurt anyone. Come back to me. I can help you. And it's like, my family's dead, Charles. I'm dead. I'm gonna fucking be dead and stuff. And Apocalypse is like, hey, bud, I know you're mad. Let me give you some fucking juice and I'll help you fucking kill everybody. And he's like, you want to give me some juice and I'll fucking kill everybody? I'll fucking kill everybody with you with some juice. And when I said that it needed some convincing, it was almost none.
Right. So, been meaning to ask you about this since I just saw it, but I don't remember, and I could be wrong. Is Magneto Omega level like that?
Well, the whole Omega level thing kind of spawned out of the whole X-Men Last Stand stuff. Like that whole idea of an Omega level mutant was never something that was coined around in the comics until after that came out. It's like one of the things that kind of popped into comics after that shit. And I would say Magneto could be considered Omega level because of the molten core of the Earth with the metals that is there and the gravitational field that protects the planet.
Sure.
And the magnetic field around the poles and stuff like that. So yeah, he could destroy a planet.
In the same respect that Iceman is an Omega level.
But that's different though, because Iceman's is, when Emma Frost took control of his brain to show him how powerful he could be if he was ever truly in control, he could snap his fingers and freeze the universe. Because he'd freeze all the matter.
Oh, that's right. He can go that far, yeah.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
He could freeze all of the matter in the universe together.
Yeah.
And that's, so Iceman is really pretty fucking hardcore in the end, because it's not that he's Iceman, it's because he can control molecular structures and the temperatures that molecules have. And that's why he's Iceman, but he'll never have control of his power at that level. And that's what Emma showed him, is that yes, you're truly one of the most powerful mutants ever, but since you're who you are as a person, you'll never be that powerful.
But since your name is Bobby Drake.
Yeah. Since you're basically Drake the rapper, you're never.
Since you have two first names.
Yeah, what a loser. And then hops out of his brain, shakes her scantily clad butt in his face, and then confuses him greatly since Iceman is gay now. Or was always gay, but they never talked about it until recently. I've stopped reading X-Men, but I think that's one of the stories that's running around right now. Yeah, is Iceman is gay now.
It was last year and all new.
So, which is fine. We're not knocking that he's gay.
Nope.
We're just saying that it's a very odd thing to do, to just kind of retcon him as gay out of nowhere.
Right when the guy's been around for 60 years?
Yeah. So, but yeah, so Magneto joins the squad, and Apocalypse has his 4 horsemen, and Apocalypse has apparently Blink's powers, creates a bubble, and brings them to the X-Mansion because he felt Charles in his head, and he's like, I need that fucking guy's body. I need it so bad. I need it.
Meanwhile, we got Jean and Scott and Jubilee out at a mall.
Oh my God!
Return of the Jedi.
Can we talk about that?
Yes, we can, because I want to talk about the pot shot that was thrown that I think is at their own movies.
Oh no, they took a shot at Last Stand. They took a swing at Last Stand where it's just like,
I'm like, are you making fun of this movie too? Then you piece of shit.
It's just like, it's like, Empire is the best. They're like, yeah, but you wouldn't have Empire if you didn't have the first one. Yeah, at least we can all agree the third one sucks. And it's like, fuck you. Last Stand isn't a good movie, but it's better than this.
Right. Right. I'm just like, really? You're going to put that in this movie? Oh, the fucking irony.
Which is crazy, because it means that during production, they thought they were making such a good movie that they could take a swipe at their own series and at third movies and trilogies in general. Yeah. And the funny part is it's also funny because we got a third movie in a trilogy this summer from Marvel too.
Oh.
And it happened to be the best one of those three and the best comic book movie of all time. But I digress. The thing I want to talk about was not about the potshot joke. It was about the mall thing, because it was like, let's take this blue guy to a mall, because Hook, he would love to go to a mall. And because, you know what? People are cool with mutants, even though Mystique just said that everyone fucking hates mutants. They just don't outwardly say it anymore. It's like...
Not there in America, bro. It's okay now.
It's like the Minnesota Nice version of racism that exists in the Midwest.
That's so true.
Is how people are...
great comparison, actually.
That's how they're treating mutants these days. And so they bring him to a mall. And the best part is, like, we should bring him to a mall. Is there a mall near here? And then who walks in? I know where a mall is. It's me, Jubilee. It's like, are you serious? Like, I know that Jubilee is not everyone's favorite character, but she doesn't suck either. Can the X-Men movies just stop using her or just stop shitting on her? It's one or the other. It's like, stop shitting on her or stop using her, guys. Because X-Men 1, she's just kind of like standing there. And then X-Men 2, she's like in a pit. And X-Men 3, she's kind of hanging out again. And then in this, she's like, I like malls. And it's like, Jesus Christ, Singer, do you even know anything? Do you know anything?
No, he does not. No.
It's like, geez, do you even know or care about any of these characters at all? And they're like, nope, not in the least. And so they go to the mall, and they're at the fucking mall. And there's some shit that happens.
Just mauling it up.
There's some dumbass shit that happens with Quicksilver and his mom, but who fucking cares?
Nobody cares.
And
because he's 20 years later, or no, 10 now, and still living in his mother's basement.
Yeah, I mean, at least they addressed it. He's like, I'm a loser. Which is like,
what was that? Is that just to validate my own thoughts of nobody aging and him still living in his mom?
Pretty much. It's pretty much a throwaway line to try and wipe away the fact that they're...
It is, because there's nothing that happens after. He's just like, yeah, I'm a loser, and everybody laughs, and next scene.
And they're like, oh,
wait, what?
Peter.
Like, what the fuck? What?
Peter, you fucking loser. And they all laugh about it. But like, I haven't seen a movie in a long time that does what this movie does. With what I'm going to talk about. What I'm going to talk about right now. Before Quicksilver scene.
Oh. I was hoping that was where you're going.
It dovetails into that. It's all part of it.
All right.
So Apocalypse...
I'm just Birdman hand rubbing over here, man. Just ready. Just like, come on, let's go.
So Apocalypse and the squad shows up, and they fucking pull Charles' body away, which makes me think of my own thing that I made again, because I was like, oh, look, Charles' body's going. I'm like, oh yeah, I put Randy Orton RKOing Charles down the hallway during this part. And
which was fantastic.
And Charles gets pulled away, and they're like, Charles! And then Havoc, who has been a big part of the movie up until now, runs up to try and save Charles, because they got Charles now and they're behind him, and Havoc blasts out of his chest instead of his hands, because this universe has established that it's only his chest and not just his hands too. And Apocalypse leaves, and they teleport out, and Alex hits the X-Jet and blows it up, and that in turn blows up the whole mansion. And this, and as
which just kind of it happens so fast.
And as the explosion starts billowing out, time stops. And there's Peter. And it's the most forced inclusion of a Quicksilver scene ever. And I'm super pissed, because all these blogs are like, best action sequence in the history of the X-Men films. And it's not even close.
And here's how we did it with all these behind the scenes. And I don't fucking care. The scene sucked.
And basically it's him running through the X-Mansion as the fire slowly starts going, and he saves everyone in the mansion.
Well, let alone, again, is it just a gross misinterpretation of his power set?
Yeah. And, brings them out, and they're all safe, and it's like, oh, cool, he saved everyone. And then they land, and I'm like, where the fuck is Alex? And then it's like, Scott shows up in the car, and he's like, where's my brother? Where's Alex? I got everyone, dude. Alex was the closest to the blast. He must have gotten killed in the blast. And I just go, are you fucking serious? This kid was in here for the first hour of the movie as a principal, and you kill him off screen? You kill him off screen. You kill him off screen, and the only reference to him dying off screen is that, whoops, I killed him off screen. And then his brother doesn't even have time to properly grieve in the movie either. Like, because he's like, I'm sad my brother's dead. And then Stryker shows up and just captures them all.
Yep.
And then he's over it.
Because everybody would assume that a helicopter, they were like, oh, Xavier must have had this helicopter on deck just for this kind of circumstance. Nobody was worried.
And oh my God, when Stryker decides that he needs the mutants, it's like, I need the mutants. And, all of them are mutants. But he points out and he goes, I need him, her, him, her, and him.
Leave the kids.
And it's just like, I need all of the principal cast and none of the extra.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
And then fucking, like, they teleport into the Huckabuck original X-Men squad of kids are in the jet with the original, or the prisoners. And they're, like, kind of hanging out, and they're like, oh, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And
well, right, to which, though, back to our Nightcrawler conundrum here, he somehow manages to get them in, right? So they're outside of said helicopter. He then can bamf them into said helicopter.
The door is open when he bamfs them in. The door to the helicopter is open. So it's different there, apparently, because the magnetic field isn't on, or whatever the fuck that... I'm not trying to stand up for the movie, Nick. I'm not trying to. I'm just saying that they clearly made sure the door was open, so that way this one... Because this was the only weak point in the script to them, was this part right here.
Right.
Like, make sure the door's open, because people are going to be like, well, if he can't teleport through stuff, why is he in the fucking helicopter jet? Well, the door was open. Duh. Oh, great, the door was open. Fucking write it. And, fucking stupid-ass movie. And, I forgot we totally glossed over this, but we meet Moira. Charles meets Moira, and it's like, oh, hey, hi, I'm Moira McTaggart. I've never met you before. And Alex is like, why the fuck doesn't she recognize us? Oh, because after Cuba, I just stole her memories because I feel like that was the legit thing to do. And it's like, why?
Right.
Why
With
did you
no
do
reference of that in the last movie?
And it's like also it's like, oh yeah, Charles has been in love with her the whole time. And then it's like,
creep.
And it's like, you got a kid? Do you have a husband? I used to, but he left me because I worked too much. And he's like, that's tight. And it's just like, gross, Charles. And then, like, so I just want to cover that he steals her memories. And the reason that it feels 100% is like, I stole your memories so that way I don't have to explain why you weren't in Days of Future Past.
Literally.
And it's like, so we end up with Stryker fucking throwing everyone in a pit because apparently that's what Stryker likes to do to mutants. If X-Men 2 is any indicator, he throws them in pits. X-Men fucking he throws them in pits. He throws them in pens and he throws them in pits. He likes to keep them in all of these pits and pens. And the fucking, I want to just call them like the Hardy Boys version of the X-Men. Nightcrawler.
Yeah, let's do it.
Nightcrawler, Cyclops, and Jean, the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew, X-Men team, are kind of like running around the facility, and they're using Jean's powers to warp people's brains to not see them, which is cool. That's a cool use of Jean's powers. I will take my hat off to them at that one spot. But then they get distracted by like a shiny door where the other people are.
With a giant warning label on it.
Yeah. And then these other guys show up like, what are you doing in our facility? It's like, we've been breached. They're like, kill those kids. They're fucking children. Murder them. And it's like, burp, burp, dude. They're like a fucking, like, fucking Benny Hill. Like running around the facility happens. And they end up in this room. They end up in a room. Doors shut. They're hiding. And they hear, grunty. I'm grunty and I'm mad. And it's like, oh, cool. Hugh Jackman probably got paid $200,000 to grunt in a cage for a little bit. That's tight. And it's just like, there's an animal in there. No, it's a man. But it's like,
an animal?
His humanity has been wiped away from him. And then the guys bust in, and Jean opens the cage, and out busts what I think they want to be an accurate representation of what Wolverine looks like in his Weapon X programming outfit. You know,
it was so bad.
It was so whack. It was like they went halfway and they stopped. Where it's like, oh man,
That's literally what they did.
That's like the suit's really awkward. Well, maybe if we only put half of the suit on him, then it'll be fine. Yeah. And so Wolverine goes on a rampage and kills a bunch of people, which
it's like a DBZ headset without the glass eyeball screen reader.
Yeah, but like also like half of a dome is on there because you know like the
there is on the around
like,
the back end. Yeah,
like the Weapon X helmet is like a full size dome thing that they put over
the eyes, everything.
Yeah, you know, but since it's a movie and you have to make sure that we know it's Hugh Jackman because we can't.
It's just earmuffs.
We can't possibly know it's him for when the arm comes out and there's claws. Like nobody's smart enough to know.
Or put him in a fucking diaper like he's supposed to be.
You know, so like he runs through and he kills everyone in the facility in a sequence that I guess looks kind of cool. Like, there's part of me that goes, yep, that's really neat. And then at the same time I go, man, that really sucks for Hugh Jackman that they just don't get how Wolverine works.
Yeah,
like,
still, they don't.
You know, and so it's like he kills everyone in the facility, and then he goes to kill the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew, and Nancy Drew puts her hand on his face, and you...
It may be the worst scene of Wolverine. This was just it for me. I couldn't anymore.
She puts her hand on his face.
Oh,
he kind of like looks at her like I'm an animal because I might bite you, I might kill you. And then she kind of looks into his head, and then you just hear the word go, Logan.
And that is literally it.
And then
I guess what I'm supposed to assume is what the beginning of X-Men Origins is.
Well, no, because the beginning in X-Men Origins, because none of that happens now.
Oh, right. See, so thank you, Bryan fucking Singer. Like,
so this is just the beginning of Wolverine's tale now.
Okay, then.
This is my issue that I had with Days of Future Past for everyone who's out there who loves the X-Men movies and thinks Days of Future Past was so great, because I thought it was okay. But here's the problem. It tells me that X-Men 1, X-Men 2, X-Men 3, and X-Men Origins are movies, and the Wolverine. It tells me 5 movies that I watched over the course of X-Men history no longer matter and never ever happened, and they're not worth ever looking at ever again. And the only ones I should ever watch are First Class, Dop, and Apocalypse. And it's a bummer because it's like, no, X-Men 2 is fucking awesome. And X-Men 1 is pretty good. And X-Men 3 has parts that are neat. X-Men Origins is trash. That's great that you guys got rid of both of the, like, overall it's great you got rid of Last Stand and you got rid of Origins. But it really fucking blows that you got rid of X-Men 1 and X-Men 2 because they're vastly superior to everything else in the canon. With the exception of First Class, because First Class is a fucking classic. That's a great film.
Very, very good film.
That's a great film. And so, like, Wolverine, after the fucking Logan fucking looks at her and he runs out into the snow, and then they're like, what did you do? He's like, I found the only 3 memories left in his brain, or whatever the fuck she says.
God.
And I gave him part of his humanity back. And so the reason Wolverine isn't just a fucking monster all the time, apparently, is because Jean found a couple memories.
And then heard his name.
Yeah, and then runs off into the woods. It's as bad, if not worse than, why do you say that name? Why do you say that name?
That's right.
That's his mother's name. Or just, it would have been, the only way it could have actually been better is if they took the shot at Batman where he's like, Logan, why did you say that name?
Why'd you say that name?
That's your name, Logan. That's my name? I know kill now. I'm Wolverine now. Now I'm okay. Ugh, gross. I'm a friend of your son's. So they fucking rescue the other squad, and then, like, we cut to fucking them in Egypt fucking around being dumb. And
Apocalypse, we got another unfinished before that even. Where the hell was Stryker going in that heli? Just dipping.
He's just out. He's like, I'm out of
here. Yeah, no, nothing. Just...
Oh my God. Can we talk about, hey, look, flight suits. Yes. Matching tactical flight suits. You might call them X-Men costumes. And then you've got your warplane. Let's go to war. You can just see Jennifer Lawrence going, God, I'm so much better than all of this. What the fuck am I even doing here anymore? She's like this. She's like, I would at least put up with. She's like, I'd at least put up with this when I was fucking Nicholas Hoult, but me and him don't like each other anymore. So I don't know why I'm even here putting up with this. But like, we cut to fucking Egypt, and Apocalypse is talking again about being someone's dad. And like, he's got
dematerializing an entire city
to turn into a pyramid. And you got Magneto helping him build said pyramid and creating a field around the pyramid or whatever. Like, I don't know what Magneto's doing. Because like the pyramid's not protected.
Well, regardless, I think what kind of offended me more than anything is even though shit got really, really bad in the comics, it never got you never saw the effects of what it would do to humanity. The potential was always there. The looming effect of it was always there. But it never happened, and that's why the heroes would always come in. So to see an entire fucking city in a comic book movie, basically, I mean, how many lives do you think were lost in that scene? Like,
hundreds of thousands.
Exactly. So it's like, what? Okay.
Just hundreds of thousands.
That's what we're doing now.
And the arc for Quicksilver is just so confusing because the fight's about to wind up, and Quicksilver goes up to talk to his dad and brings Mystique with him, and Mystique's like, Eric, we're your family. Me and Charles, we love you. Come home. Just come home. And he like looks at her and he's like, what about you? Talking to Quicksilver, and Quicksilver's like, I'm worried about my family too. And it's like, you're telling me his whole arc is to go find his dad to not tell him he's his dad? Like, why is he here? And then a fucking shitty action sequence happens. Nightcrawler and Archangel fight again because of course they have to. And Nightcrawler beats Archangel again and fucking gets the professor's body. Apocalypse gets pissed, comes out of the pyramid, and goes to fight.
Yeah, but he put him in a little cage of which Archangel spins around in a circle to only bust out the top of it.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? Is that your can opener move? Or
yeah, it's fucking...
Like, you just couldn't cut a walkway? Like
super dumb. Just super dumb. And
don't forget Psylocke's lasso.
Yeah, oh my god, she turns her psychic knife into a lasso.
Which is so...
Oh my god, and she's choking Beast. Oh, sweet Christ. Oh, fucking A.
When are we going to get a good representation of Beast instead of this 5'10" blue-haired...
We got bulky, it, man. Kelsey Grammer was dope as Beast.
I was going to say, yes, he was, but he still wasn't like 8 foot, like, Beast.
Well, Beast isn't 8 feet tall.
Beast is pretty huge in some of the latter comics.
I mean, I think he's, like, massive as far as, like, bulk, but I don't think he's tall.
I may be thinking of a time after somebody else juiced up his mutant gene again, and he got even more.
Okay, because I don't because on the X-Men wiki, it says Beast is 5'11".
In Beast form?
Yep.
Yeah, it must have been something that happened later then, because he turned even more animalistic.
The X-Men wiki says he's 5'11", 420 pounds, which gives why he's so, like, massive and muscular. Sure. But, so...
Yeah, and Hickman's new Avengers run. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, when he further evolves.
When he's... Yeah, there you go, yes.
Yeah, when he starts getting all weird, like, horns and shit.
Yep.
It's like cat face and all that other goofy-ass shit. But, so the fight scene is like, you know, everyone pairs off and fights whoever they can fight, and the other ones who are like hanging out with Charles's body. Charles becomes bald because Apocalypse gets in his head, which is
that
another
fucking rogue eyebrow hair was there the entire time.
Yeah,
God damn it.
The funny thing is like they took.
Does he have no friends? Was nobody on set like, hey man?
The funny part about this is like, you know what was really cool about the Shadow King storyline is that Charles saved Aurora Monroe from the Shadow King by fighting the Shadow King in the astral plane, and he did it, and despite the fact that he knew that building was collapsing on him and it broke his spine, so that way he'd never walk again. I know that we already used the whole he can't walk, so what if we made him bald because him and Apocalypse are fighting in the astral plane and he's losing? What?
I thought it was because of the transference.
Oh right, no, it is because you're right. No, it is because of the transference because he had hair, and the hair fell out because Apocalypse likes to start fresh. He likes his bald look. When mankind has become too complacent, I am there to throw the fire to burn away the land. And when I transfer into a new body, I am there to go bald, to regrow the new hair. Huh? I don't like old hair. I don't like old styles with split ends and messed up pieces. I need to do the hair myself. I might want to throw it into a top knot. I might want to just shave one side and do like an asymmetrical thing. All right. Apocalypse. I'm your father. I know. I'm everyone's father. Your leaders are blind. I know.
We get it.
Stop talking to me about blind leaders.
Fuck.
Oh my god.
All the while, you got Storm watching from the fucking sidelines.
Yeah. After she kind of loses to Cyclops.
I guess.
I mean, he never hits her with the eyes. She's always flying away from it, and he's just kind of like,
they just do the atypical fucking superhero power move show off, like boom, beam meets beam.
And then Michael Fassbender spends the last 10 minutes just kind of grunting in front of a green screen while they have like bits of metal flying at Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And then like,
let alone does he spend the whole movie with his arms open like he needs a hug.
Yeah. And
somebody give Michael Fassbender a hug, damn it.
And the thing about this is that like they could have fixed a couple of things. Let me fix this movie a little bit for you. Quicksilver goes up and tells him, he's like, I need you to come back with me. Why? It's like, because your family's not gone. I'm your son. And then Magneto looks at him and goes, you're not my son. My real family's dead. And that's a cold, shitty moment. And Quicksilver runs away because he's sad because his father won't respect him. Then, when we have the moment where Quicksilver decides to show that he's a badass and goes one-on-one with Apocalypse and beats the fuck out of him, and Apocalypse traps him in the ground like he does, and he breaks his legs, which was that was tight, actually. And Quicksilver's on the ground screaming in pain because his legs are broken. Then Magneto sees it, and Magneto triggers it. It's like, that's my kid. I can't fucking let that happen. And that's when Magneto turns. Because as it stands now, Magneto just turns because he's like, all right, maybe Raven was right. Maybe they are my family. Cool.
Boom. Fixed.
Right. And that's how you fix that part. And then, like, we have this whole thing happen where I was excited because it's like, oh, cool, they're going to do the whole thing where Apocalypse can shift shape. And they don't do that. The only reason he grows in size is because they're fighting in the astral plane. And he gets big inside the astral plane and throws Charles around. And I'm like, that's the most fuckboyish bullshit way of making it that he can grow big ever. Fuck you, movie. You fucking piece of garbage. You fucking dummy. And then fucking Charles is getting killed in the astral plane, and he's begging Jean in the real world to come in there and help him. And Jean's like, I'm too scared to do anything.
I don't know.
I'm too scared. And
Super
then it's
lumpy space princess.
You're gonna lose, Apocalypse. Why would I lose, Charles? Because you are alone.
Oh, yeah.
And
How many times have we heard that in a movie?
Am not. And then the doors of the X-Mansion open, and there's Jean in his brain.
Will never, ever, ever. They tried to fucking Coulson Loki that scene, and it didn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just didn't play.
You can't do that.
And the door opens, and Jean walks in, and her and Apocalypse go to brawl in the astral plane and in real life. And then we keep hearing Charles go, let go, Jean. Let go, Jean. Let go of your power, Jean. Let it go. Let it go. Unleash the phoenix around you, girl. And then Jean lets it go, and she becomes the Phoenix out of nowhere.
Out of fucking nowhere.
She becomes the Phoenix, and she fucking kills Apocalypse.
Murder.
She vaporizes and melts him, and then Apocalypse, as he's dying, goes, all is revealed, and dies.
Right.
He dies. And then they all land and they go, he's fucking dead. Tight. And then they all go back to the mansion. And then there we see Storm there, and it's like, you know what? I think I'm sticking around here for a while. Me too. And then everyone's like, oh, yay, yay. And then we have Charles and we have Fassbender and McAvoy killing it because they're great in every scene they're in, despite the movie being fucking garbage. And they're in the basement, and then they make them retread the amazing end of X-Men 1. Doesn't it ever wake you in the night that someone is going to come for your children? It does indeed, my friend. But I feel a great swell of pity for anyone who comes to my school looking for trouble. And that's awesome. Great. That's a great callback. I can't convince you to leave, or I can't convince you to stay. You're a psychic, Charles. If you wanted me to stay, you would make
You
me.
can convince me to do anything.
Yeah. And it's like, that's a great ending for those two. Good job, movie. You managed to not fuck up the one relationship that's really important to the whole series.
Right.
And then we get the whole and I'll give them the nod for their costuming in this part.
Yeah, 2 hours and 40 minutes for a payoff like this? Are you fucking kidding me?
No, trust me, I'm right there with you. The movie's fucking garbage. It's a bucket of dog shit.
Oh my god. They could have done this halfway through the movie and it would have ended up way better than it is.
You know, and then we go into
to see the shit fights in those uniforms would have made it that much better.
Yeah, it would have been much better with that costuming. But then we go in there and boom, Mystique is wearing her blue and white and gray She's wearing her traditional blue and white and gray comic book outfit, but it's in the form of a brand new X-Men suit, so that there's armor pieces. She's not just naked wearing basically a bed sheet over her. I'm like, that's a really cool way to get Mystique into her classic comic outfit. Man, if the whole movie had that kind of, let's not do it exactly the way they did it, but just a little tweak, awesome. It would have been a great film. But they didn't. They didn't care. And then we get to see everyone in their costumes. We get to see Jean in her Marvel Girl outfit.
You'd literally get a maybe 10-second
payoff. You get a shot of Jean in Marvel Girl outfit. You get a shot of Kurt turning around in his triangular red and blue and black Nightcrawler outfit with the feet open. Storm is
better.
Storm is in her mohawked one with the wrist bangles that attach to the hips. And then
Scott.
And then Scott turns around, and there's Scott in his 90s fucking bandolier.
With the angled,
with the
shoulder.
With the bandoliered shoulders, and he turns around, and then there he is with the fucking Cyclops, the actual traditional Cyclops visor. And it's like, all right, guys, now it's time for us to fight. And then out come all the Sentinels that they're training against in the danger room. And then Cyclops' eyes go. Fucking Storm flies up, Jean puts her hands out, and Nightcrawler bamfs out, and it's like, boom, X-Men. It's like, you sons of bitches.
Right.
How dare you? You're telling me that after the shit you just showed me is where the good part of the X-Men starts? And it's just like, and then I just kind of like sat there and I was like, wow. Batman vs. Superman is a bad movie, but it's not enough to make me write off the series of the DC universe. X-Men Apocalypse is bad enough that I don't know if I could go see another X-Men movie in the theater.
Ever again.
That isn't Deadpool related.
Right. Well, yeah, no, we're not talking. We're talking in the Singerverse.
Yeah, because like
thereof.
Because as it stands right now, it's like I don't feel like Deadpool takes place in the universe that this one takes place in. Now, granted, yes, that was the 80s when that shit happened, but like, I just don't believe it.
Yeah, because if we got to fucking Peter'd still be looking the same and living in his mom's basement.
Yeah, it's just like, ugh. And then, as obviously, this whole movie has all been fucking spoilers as we just uncork a big old shitstorm.
Are you talking about the biggest what the fuck yet?
It's not even a what the fuck. It's the most garbage.
It's the biggest what the fuck. Because anybody who doesn't know comic books is literally watching that going,
they're lost.
The fuck?
Yeah, they're lost. And I thought that exact same thing when I saw it. So the post-credit sequence, because hey, it's a stinger,
is the most ill-planned. You tell them. I can't. This is so fucking stupid.
We get our eyes on who is going to be the villain for the X-Men going forward, or who's going to be the villain in Wolverine 3. Well, I don't know which movie it's going to be, but it's important that we say that it's either one of those things. So credits end, we fade back up in the Weapon X facility. Dead bodies everywhere. People are getting zipped up, cleaned up. A cleanup crew is here to get rid of this issue. In walks three guys in business suits and briefcases, and they're, fucking super deadly serious. They ain't got time for anyone. They're walking over bodies, making janitors look like assholes. And they walk into the room where Wolverine was kept. And they open it up, and they take down all the pictures, all the x-rays of the adamantium skeleton and all of everything. They reach into the cooler, and they grab out a sample of his blood, and you see the suitcase open, and the briefcase slides apart, and you see that there's a whole bunch of different samples of serums and bloods in there, and they put that into the case. This briefcase slides back together, and then the briefcase closes and clicks shut, and you see a reveal that says Essex Corporation. And for a guy like me who knows comic books, that's a very angering stinger. For somebody who does not follow comic books, that's a very confusing thing to see. So let me break that down for you. There's a character in the X-Men universe who's very beloved as a villain. I wouldn't say, beloved will say with the way you love any villain, where it's like, I love that guy as a villain. He's a piece of shit, but I love him because he's such a piece of shit. And this is one of those characters. His name is Nathaniel Essex. But he doesn't go by the name of Nathaniel Essex. His name is Mr. Sinister. And Mr. Sinister is one of the coolest villains in all of the X-Men universe, rivaling Apocalypse in coolness.
Absolutely.
As far as his inclusion in the movie or in the comic book universe and the cartoon. In the cartoon, he's pitch perfect. They do such a great job with him in the cartoon. And Apocalypse too. Let's not even fucking bullshit here. Apocalypse is perfect in the cartoon as well. But as a stinger, it's supposed to be something that the fans can get excited about, and this movie does something that only comic book fans can get excited about, because my mom doesn't know who Nathaniel Essex is. My wife doesn't know who Nathaniel Essex is. Right. And when we leave, I'm going to have to explain in the car who Mr. Sinister is.
And that's just it. It's not even for comic book. I mean, you have to be... Anybody who even watched the 90s cartoons doesn't know Mr. Sinister by Essex.
But Nathaniel Essex, no one does.
I wouldn't even put it into comic book fan. Like you got to be knowledgeable comic book fan.
You have to specifically know shit about the X-Men,
right? Which is fucking dumb.
So it's like it's a really dumb stinger. It's like, so is Essex going to be the villain in Wolverine because he has a history of genetic manipulation? Is that how they're going to play it? That the Weapon X program was funded by Mr. Sinister the whole time? Because that could be cool. Or is it that Mr. Sinister 10 years from now in the 90s, when no one has still aged, is going to be the villain in the 90s, and it's going to take 10 years for that plan to unfurl? Because
which still doesn't make any sense, because isn't he the one who creates Nathaniel Summers?
Who creates Cable?
Yeah, from parts of...
Nathaniel Summers is the biological child of Scott Summers and Madeline Pryor, the Goblin Queen.
What am I thinking of then that he used Scott's DNA for?
Mr. Sinister cloned Jean, and that's who Madeline Pryor is. The Goblin Queen is the clone of Jean Grey made by Mr. Sinister. Sinister has always been obsessed with fucking with the
Summers.
Yeah. Now, if you're talking about X-Man, which is Nate Grey, which is the alternate universe version of Cable, then yes, Sinister made Nate Grey. But Nathaniel Summers is Cable, and Nate Grey is like the alternate universe version of him. Okay. And then also, future version of Mr. Sinister experiments on Cable and makes Strife too. Basically, Nathaniel Essex, Mr. Sinister, is obsessed with fucking with the Summers genome. Like, he believes they're the perfect mutant lineage because they have a specific set of powers to them, and they're so powerful, and none of them can hurt each other with their powers. They're all immune to each other's powers, which is why Alex and Scott had to fight Vulcan, which is the third Summers brother, who we'll probably see in the next movie and probably won't have any cool powers either, even though he's like the most powerful of all the Summers kids.
It'll probably get introduced in some ridiculous way.
He'll probably work in a bar as like a bouncer and just like sit in the back or something stupid, something incredibly dumb. But like, fuck. So basically, at the end of the day, this is how I responded to it on Twitter when I said it was the worst movie of the summer. Someone was like, well, should I see it anyways? And I said, if you can steal it and you don't care about losing 2.5 hours of your time, then yes, go ahead and watch it. But if you care about 2.5 hours of your time and you have to, then don't see it at all. But if you care about money, don't see it. But if you don't care about stealing and you don't care about your time, see it. But if you care about your time and you care about your money, or you care about either one of those things, don't see it.
I would disagree, and I would say just don't.
Don't.
If you're a fan, it's hard to say that though, because I know you have to kind of see something to just embrace the suck, or just to see the suck. But this one, I don't know. There's just so many things that offended the shit out of me. Like, I'm just,
It was a bucket of awful. Just start to finish, bucket of awful. So
yeah, where even BVS was like at least cool to look at.
Yeah, and I mean,
this movie's not even cool to look at.
And the action was tedious, but like at the same time, didn't feel
how
like.
Many lines did Olivia Munn have? Honest to God, what, 4, 5?
4 or 5.
What a fucking waste.
Psylocke's important. We're going to show her in the trailer. She's as important as Jamie Madrox is to X-Men 3.
Oh, yeah. Literally. Yep.
So there you have it, guys. It's the worst movie of our summer. And,
Yeah.
So,
It has to be.
you know.
Because there's no way Suicide Squad's going to be bad.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say there is no way the Suicide Squad can be bad, but it's highly unlikely. It's highly unlikely.
Yes,
I'll
go with that.
So yeah, that's our episode this week. Is basically we just kind of just had to uncork, let's shit on. And to tell you the truth, we went almost scene by scene to shit on this movie, and the stuff we forgot about was just too shitty to even care about.
Doesn't even matter. Not even worth the mention.
So thank you for slogging with us, and I hope you laughed at all the dumb shit that we pointed out, because it was tough. It was tough to watch. It was a really tough one to watch, and I don't wish it on anybody else.
Singer is done though now, supposedly.
Yeah, well, he says that, but I don't think that's true.
Right.
I don't think that's true at all.
Yeah,
so,
he's as done with this as Michael Bay is with.
Yeah, until the money starts flowing into it, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I guess I do want to make a new one." So so thank you again for listening. We appreciate it super duper mega mucho much. If you want, tell 2 friends about the show, so that way we can keep growing the audience. It's a nice family fun time thing, and we'll keep pushing it forward and pushing it forward. We're also going to have a new episode of Listbait this week. I know I said that last time that we had the podcast, but life got in the way, so I couldn't finish it. So I'm finishing it very, very soon, and you guys will think it's really, really funny. At least I'm one of those shitty comedians where I think all my jokes are hilarious. So I'm a hack. But so there's that. But yeah, you can find us everywhere on the internet as @MotherFlarker, or going to the various websites and doing it like that. So, you guys have been great. We've been a little bit better, just a tiny bit.
Just a wee bit.
And we have been
the best Flarking podcast.